Mark 4:21-41. He said to them, "Do you bring a lamp to put it under a bowl or a bed? Instead, don't you put it on a stand? For whatever is hidden is meant to be disclosed, and whatever is concealed is meant to be brought out into the open. If anyone has ears to hear, let them hear. Consider carefully what you hear," he continued. "With the measure you use, it will be used against you. It will be measured to you. Even more, whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them." Parable of the growing seed. He also said, "This is what the kingdom of God is like. A man scattered seed on the ground night and day. Whether he sleeps or gets up, the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. All by itself the soil produces grain. First the stalk, then the head, then the full kernel in the head. As soon as the grain is ripe, he puts the sickle to it, because the harvest has come." Again he said, "What shall we say the kingdom of God is like, or what parable shall we use to describe it? It is like a mustard seed, which is the smallest of all the seeds on the earth. Yet when planted, it grows and becomes the largest of all garden plants, with such big branches that the birds can perch in its shade." With many similar parables, Jesus spoke the word to them as much as they could understand. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. When he was alone with his own disciples, he explained everything. That day, when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along. Just as he was in the boat, there was also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciple woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up and rebuked the wind, said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." Lamp on a stand. All right. So when the gospel is revealed to you, it's done like a very personal, very quiet kind of way, I guess. Like, yeah, it's usually public, like eventually publicized. Like in baptism, you want to do it in front of people, let people know like that you are a follower of Christ. You want to kind of declare it publicly, but it's initially done. He speaks to you in a whisper, and then he speaks to you in a whisper in secret, and then you declare it to everyone. It's just kind of how he just chooses to have his gospel spread, by using us as tools, as lamps. You have to consider carefully what you hear. Do I like that verse? Just be very careful what you hear, how you hear it, I guess, to ponder over it. Ponder over his words, because in them is life. With the measure you use it will be used to measure you. If you push higher standards on other people, you better meet those standards. If you are getting on people's back for not being perfect, for not being excellent in their work, you better be hot stuff. Basically, that's how I read that. Don't be crapping on other people's work unless you are you're hot stuff. I learned that the hard way. Criticizing people when I'm no one to criticize. So make sure you get your house in order. Make sure your ducks in a row before you go around trying to push standards on other people. The Matthew principle. Whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. That doesn't seem fair to us, but we're not God. Okay, this is how God chooses to do it. Whoever has more will be given. Parable of the growing seed. I like this because this is kind of a good picture of how faith grows, and how we grow in our walk with Christ. We don't know how. We don't understand. Like the farmer just goes out, scatters seed on the ground, and fertilizes it, waters it, and then the seed grows. He doesn't know how it grows. God does. It doesn't matter that he doesn't know how. He just watches it grow. All he does is put the seed out. The seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. All by itself, the soil produces grain. And it does it in an order. It's not all at once. You're not going to become a, fruitful in a day. It's a very long process. First the stalk, then the head, then the full kernel in the head. As soon as the grain is ripe, he puts the sickle to it because the harvest has come. It is a process. Just like the mustard seed grows, slowly. It starts so small, starts like a little baby, and then grows up to be a big, strong tree that others can benefit from. And no one knows how it grows. It just does. I like the story of Jesus calming the storm a lot. Jesus allows these storms, and he's very nonchalant when they come, almost like they don't matter. Like they're tests. He knows the storms. He actually sends the storms into our lives. Storms that test our faith. Because our faith is more precious than anything, really, to him. It's so valuable, and he's very careful to only test it to what it can handle. He's trying to toughen it up, like growing a muscle at the gym. You start small, take a few steps out in faith, fall down, it doesn't happen, you're really confused, you don't get it, but you keep pushing to Jesus, you keep pushing, you don't give up on him, you believe, you continue to believe, even though evidence might say, you're wrong. Jesus doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't care. Look, water's coming into the boat. The storm's getting worse. God's not saying anything. He's real quiet. He's actually asleep. And doesn't matter. Jesus is with you. He knows. He knows. Okay? Embrace those storms. Lean into them. Take advantage of every single one of them, because with each one, your faith grows. You get perseverance. With that perseverance, you get character. And with that character, you get hope. And as long as that hope is in Jesus, you will never be let down, ever. He is the most dependable individual ever. So, I love this reprimand from Jesus. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? That's a question we should ask ourselves. Why are we so afraid? What do we have to be scared of? I think it's Psalm 118, or I don't know which Psalm it is, but it's basically, what can man do to me? Don't let your heart be afraid. What can man do to me? Something along those lines. And when I read that, I think, well, actually, man can do a whole lot to me. Man can embarrass me. Man can really put me to shame. Man can bully me. Man can torture me. Man can kill me. Man can kill my loved ones, torture me. Man can do some horrible things. But guess what? Victory is already done. Like, this world, it's not our home anyways. We belong to a different kingdom. We belong to a different world. We belong to the Creator. And we don't need to be afraid. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Don't be afraid. What is it? Isaiah something. Fear not. That's a goldie. I forget it. But basically, it's like, hey, listen, God's in charge. He's gonna help you. He will help you. He will lift you up with his righteous right hand. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. That's the verse I was thinking of. And it doesn't always seem like it, because sometimes we're pathetic. Sometimes we trip and we flop hard. And God knows we flop. Sometimes he designs those flops to keep us humble. The ego is just a fruit killer. It just poisons the fruit. It's hard to accept God's grace when you have an ego. So ask yourself this question: Well, first do this. Be quiet. Shut up. Be still. When you got all these voices screaming in your head, when you're all anxious and upset, shut up. Be still. Well, he was actually talking to the wind and the waves when he said that, but I feel like he tells it to me a lot too. Shut up. Just chill out. Then ask yourself, why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? Yeah, don't be afraid. I mean, fear, it's just a liar. God's got such bigger plans for us than having us always tripping over our imaginations and things that haven't even happened, most likely never will.